Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. This is my review of the B&T APC 9mm. This APC 9mm is semi-automatic only. I bring that up because I'm going to refer to it as a submachine gun, even though by the strict definition it does not actually meet the definition of a submachine gun. A submachine gun is something that fires a pistol caliber and is select fire. However, this is not. It's semi-auto only. They do make a select fire version, law enforcement, military purchases. Obviously, there's no pre-86, so that's not an option. The reason I'm going to refer to it as submachine gun is it's a colloquial definition that everyone's come to accept when a shoulderable weapon system or a potentially shoulderable weapon system in a pistol configuration can fire a pistol round. We've seen a resurgence in the popularity of submachine guns in the AR market, and the AR-centric lowers that fire the 9mm round. You've seen, I think there's a couple out there that fire 40 and 45 as well. So they're becoming more and more popular. I decided to pick up the B&T because I hadn't seen a lot about it, but I'd heard really, really good things. So I wanted to see if it really was everything it was supposed to be cracked up to be. Now, my background with submachine guns, some of you may already know, those of you that follow me or have had conversations with me or talked about in classes, I'm not a fan of submachine guns generally speaking. The most venerable submachine gun of all, the MP5 made by H&K, is probably on the bottom of the list of submachine guns I like. And I know some people are going to gasp at that, but my personal feeling is the people who love the MP5 probably haven't had to use one. I believe it's an outdated technology. And when I look at newer submachine guns, I want something that's going to fix the problems that I thought existed on the MP5. Now again, that's just my opinion, and this video isn't to bash on the MP5. It's a great weapons platform, but it needed to be modernized, and because the submachine gun isn't as popular in the US as it is in Europe, you didn't see a lot of strides in the submachine gun market on the US side to modernize the platform. And of course, the submachine gun market in general can get kind of nebulous, kind of murky, because then you have PDWs and what classifies as a submachine gun if it fires a special purpose round, such as like a 5.7. But just sticking with the general, accepted, understood idea of what a submachine gun is, 9mm, 40-45 pistol caliber, strict pistol caliber. The B&T fills that role pretty well. It is compact, as you can see. You've got a nice foldable stock, and you've got some other very, very cool features that I think really help bring the submachine gun into the modern era. Getting right into features on the APC 9mm. It's got a 6.8-inch barrel, which is longer than the general handgun that you're going to find, and we'll talk about its accuracy abilities later. 5.9 pounds. Now that 5.9 pounds is with the aim point, with the light and grip, and with a loaded 30-round magazine. So that's a really, really light, really, really compact package. It is also available in a longer barrel length, right around 9.4 inches, which gives you a little bit more rail space, which again, we'll talk about that in the future of the video. And then it defaults to Picatinny. Now, one-piece receiver up top, so your 12 o'clock and your 6 o'clock Picatinny is not changeable. However, the Picatinny at your 9 and your 3 o'clock, if someone were to produce aftermarket key mod or M-lock, you could swap these out pretty easily. Barrel is 3-lug, a little bit European-centric again, but I've always been a 3-lug fan when it comes to a suppressor attachment because they go on and come off very, very easily. They arguably don't have the same stability and attenuation as you're going to get from a screw-on or a thread-on suppressor, but the ease of attachment kind of outweighs that, especially considering we're dealing with a pistol caliber. Now, B&T recommends and sells as a package the Aimpoint TL, the 4 MOA model. They consider this to be the primary sight of the weapon system, although it does have backup emergency sights that flip up the front and rear, and the rear is slightly adjustable, although I found when I use the and they call them emergency sights. When I use the emergency sights for shooting, they were point of aim, point of impact at 25 meters. So it's pretty good considering it's a pistol caliber, under 7-inch barrel. 25 meters was going to be my zero distance anyway. Getting into control features, collapsible folding, or I should say a folding stock. There is a telescoping stock version available as well. Push button folds to the right side of the weapon. It can still be fired in this configuration, not a problem at all, no issues, although obviously it is easier to control when we have that third point of contact on the stock. But if you needed to deploy it from a bag or from underneath a coat or whatever your role or whatever the weapon's role may be, it's easy enough. There's no issues whatsoever firing it with the stock folded. Fully ambidextrous controls, which is awesome. Ambidextrous safety. I'm not a huge fan of ambi safeties because I don't see a significant gain in them. I feel like if you're right-handed, the safety lever should be on the left side of the trigger control group, and if you're left-handed, the trigger or the safety should be on the right side of the trigger control group, so it can be manipulated with the thumb. I don't believe there's any real advantage gained in the ambi, and there are some downsides to it, like such as it rubbing against gear inadvertently and unsafing the weapon, which I don't like. You can safe the weapon in any chamber condition. So if the chamber's locked to the rear, if the chamber's empty, if the chamber's got a round in it, obviously safety can be applied, so that's pretty cool. Fully ambidextrous bolt catch, bolt release, and of course magazine release. The charging handle is also ambidextrous. Simply just taking the gun down, you're able to switch the charging handle from the left side to the right side, from the right side to the left side, and that way you'd be able to if you're a left-handed shooter, move it to the right, right-handed shooter, move it to the left, or if for some crazy reason you want to run this thing AK style, even though it has fully ambidextrous controls, because you like doing that cool guy under the gun kind of thing, that's an option for you too. So it really addresses every potential desire when it comes to control features. My initial feelings on the APC were, man, this thing is light. And is that lightness going to be a problem when it comes to recoil? The desire for a stock on a pistol caliber submachine gun is the fact that now I have 3 points of contact, which give me an inherently more controllable round. When it comes to mission, there's a niche. There's always going to be a niche for pistol caliber. One of the best things about them is they're super portable. They can be made extremely compact, especially if suppressors aren't a need. And if they do need to be suppressed, you can run a multitude of different cans, subsonic ammunition, and you're able to basically transport, conceal, and compact a very effective platform. I am a rifle caliber guy. I like 10-inch SBRs. I like 12-inch SBRs in rifle caliber because I want that that temporary wound cavity on threat. But there's still always going to be a place for the submachine gun, law enforcement, military, and for those of you that want a pistol caliber for self-defense, this would really fill that role nicely. The APC's trigger is AR-centric. It feels just like an AR trigger. Now you've got a polymer lower, polymer trigger group, and there's cause for concern from some people for that, but if you look at a lot of the other submachine guns out there, even the most venerable older ones like the MP5, polymer parts have not been an issue for a very long time. The issue with polymer parts is when they're just not well made. And that's not the case as far as I've been able to tell through the 2,000 round review process for the APC9. The trigger feels really nice. And I know that's very subjective. However, I think you'll see through the review process that it can be manipulated for precision shooting, and it can be run very fast as I'm able to run it. And again, I'm not the fastest shooter in the world. There were no hang-ups, no graininess, no grinding, no unintentional movement, no play in the trigger group at all. Which is something that I expected because, I mean, it's Swiss, and you know, the cliche is the Swiss are known for precision, and that definitely shows in this trigger group. Now, sometimes when it comes to ambidextrous controls, there's compromises somewhere in the design. You'll find that one side of the weapon's controls work better than the others. Especially you see this a lot on AR-centric weapons where things are just done after the fact. The AR wasn't designed to be ambidextrous, so every ambidextrous control feature that's been introduced to it had to work around the existing design to keep that parts commonality that we want with magazines and trigger groups and so on and so forth. This is designed from the ground up to be an ambidextrous platform, so your ability to manipulate the bolt release from the right side is exactly the same amount of pressure that you need from the left side. Same with the magazine releases. Everything works like it's supposed to. Everything works same both sides of the weapon, which is something I really appreciated because, again, and I hate to go back to the AR-centric, but that platform has been asked, so much has been asked from the AR-centric platform that it can't always deliver as well in every single category. If you want a submachine gun and you have to have ambidextrous controls, this is probably the best set of ambidextrous controls I've seen recently on what I would consider a newer or from inception submachine gun platform. Accuracy is important even though it is a pistol caliber. Accuracy is always important regardless of caliber. Now, is this going to be inherently more accurate than a handgun? Yes, it is, because it's shoulder supported. So if you, the cliche quote, air quote, do your part, you should be able to deliver more accurate gunfire faster from this platform than you would from a handgun. Also be able to, you know, tote around larger magazines without such an issue. What I wanted to do was kind of demonstrate subjectively that accuracy. So I fired 2 different groups at 2 different distances. These first 2 groups are fired at 25 meters. First group up, prime 124 grain. And this is 124 grain gold dot. Now that was the 0 distance, but I also pushed it out to 50 meters. So here is prime 124 grain at 50 meters. And here is the 124 grain gold dot at 50 meters. Considering the aim point TL is a 4 MOA dot, which covers up a lot of my desired point of impact even at 25 meters. I'm very happy with those groups. Now granted, those are 2 really high quality ammunitions. Prime 124 grain has probably recently become my go-to range and practice ammunition. And then of course 124 grain gold dot is known for accuracy as well. So it's no big surprise that the ammo was able to produce that results. But out of a 6.8 inch barrel, out to 50 meters, you know, 25 and then 50 meters, I'm very happy with the accuracy that the B&T is capable of. Durability is always a topic that's going to come up. Well, you know how I do my reviews. The 500 round burn down. Specific to the submachine gun, I guess, category is, will it feed reliably hollow points? Because there are some older submachine guns that are finicky about what hollow points they like because they weren't really designed with hollow points in mind. So during the 500 round burn down process, I fired 300 rounds of prime 124 grain, but I also fired 200 rounds of gold dot 124 grain. I threw the suppressor on there as well for about 200 rounds of fire, just to see if the added back pressure and just the inherent changes that a suppressor causes were going to induce any malfunctions. All right, let's see how she runs. So that was the burn down. 500 rounds as fast as I could get them out. And I didn't experience a single malfunction, didn't have any issues whatsoever. So as far as my own personal high rate of fire torture test that I like to do for firearms, I consider the B&T definitely passed it. The submachine gun is an acquired taste, but there's no good reason not to own one. I mean, let's be honest. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the B&T. I'm actually really glad I got one of these. They are a little cost prohibitive for people who are used to paying AR prices, and some people may say, well, it's a submachine gun, but I'm paying more than I'm going to pay for an AR. Yeah, but you're getting something a little bit different. Don't think of pistols like rifles and rifles like pistols when it comes to cost. General pistol caliber things do cost less than rifles, and this isn't for everyone, but if you have an opportunity to get one, I would highly recommend it, because of all the submachine guns I've played with recently, including some of those AR centric 9mm lower whatever, I would take this over those hands down, just on the fact that it's purpose built as a 9mm submachine gun. Now, that being said, there are some things I don't necessarily care for. It has a reciprocating charging handle, not a huge issue, but I'm going to default with my charging handle on the left side of the weapon, so I need to be very careful with my thumb placement, otherwise I'm going to induce a malfunction. Now, that being said, it is nice to have it over there so I can put my thumb on it if I want to do a really, really quiet subsonic 9mm shot. Because it's European, it defaults to Picatinny, so I'm stuck with Picatinny except for these sections that I can replace, and as you can see, there isn't a whole lot of rail space here to work with, but all things considered, I can find my way around that. I'm able to get a light on it, I'm able to get an optic on it, I'm able to get an additional point of grip. Now, if I wanted to run an IR laser on it, that's when real estate would start to become an issue. But I could run a CQB Hill on this left side, I just wouldn't be able to operate the light and the laser at the same time. So there are some issues, some compromises that you have to make in using this platform. But I mean, when it comes to size, and again, this is a 30-round magazine, their magazines go all the way down to 15. So you can very easily make this a very concealable package if you had to. Deployed from a backpack, deployed from under a heavy 3/4 length winter coat, whatever your role, whatever your need is. Now, once you add a suppressor on, it does add length, it does become a little bit less concealable, but for something, for an immediate need, immediate response platform, inherently more accurate platform you need to deploy in pistol caliber, it doesn't really get any more compact and reliable than this. During the 2,000 round review process, I didn't experience a single malfunction, which I wouldn't say necessarily is surprising, but given my history with some submachine guns and how they're finicky about hollow point ammunition, I used, obviously you saw, I used hollow point gold dots multiple times throughout the review process, and I was always concerned that I was going to get a hang up, but I didn't experience that problem at all. So, final verdict on the APC9. They default as a pistol. You can go ahead and grab one. SB Tactical does make a stabilizing brace for the APC9, so you can go ahead and put that stabilizing brace on there so you can get a cheek weld only, because you can't, you know, shoulder that thing. Obviously, no one would ever do that when there was a camera around. So that option exists. That's something that you can get, and that allows you to circumvent the need for SBR paperwork. But you can also grab the folding stock, do your SBR, do your form, and then you have yourself a nice pistol caliber carbine, which I'm going to continue to refer to as a submachine gun because that's how everybody knows them. So yeah, if you're looking for submachine gun, a pistol caliber rifle, this is the one that you should probably get, or at least consider getting. They are a little bit cost prohibitive, I get that, but it's definitely worth it. I can't say that enough. I'm Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics. Subgun accordingly. Like, it's just like, it's so compact, so just right here, and it's just, I feel like it's fragile, but it's not, because it's capable of so many amazing things, and then I can just fold it right back up, and it's just like, oh, it's just like a little newborn submachine gun, and then that's where it's at. Somebody's going to complain that I was holding my baby high port instead of muzzle down.